What if I told you that the man who chases nothing receives everything? What if I told you that true power doesn't belong to the loudest man in the room or the one flashing the most wealth, but to the man who has eliminated his need for approval? The world trains you to seek. Seek attention. Seek validation. Seek acceptance. They want you desperate for recognition, addicted to comparison, fragile under pressure. That is how weak men are created. But Stoicism offers you a different path, the path of detachment, the path of total self-governance, the path of unshakable power. When you focus entirely on yourself, when you no longer care who is watching, who is judging, who is clapping, you become untouchable. While others react, you calculate. While others speak, you listen. While others chase emotions, you govern outcomes. You become dangerous because nothing outside of you controls you anymore. No insult pierces you. No failure weakens you. No praise blinds you. You remain still, composed, in full command of your thoughts, your movements, your future. That is the Stoic path to unshakable power. The world bows to the man who has mastered himself. And today, you begin that transformation. Welcome to modern Stoicism, where we don't chase emotions, we master them. This is where ancient wisdom meets psychological dominance, where self-mastery replaces desperation, where silence becomes your weapon, where control replaces chaos. If you're ready to install the mindset that leaves you untouchable, unbreakable, and unbothered, you're exactly where you need to be. Now listen closely, because your transformation starts now. Part 1. The opening strike. Listen carefully, because this moment separates you from them. You have been lied to your entire life. They told you to hustle for validation. They told you to seek attention. They told you to measure your worth by followers, applause, and compliments. They programmed you to crave recognition, and they made you weak. Understand this. The most dangerous man alive seeks nothing from the world. He does not compete for attention. He does not beg for approval. He does not tremble when others doubt him. He moves in silence. He observes everything and reveals nothing. The Stoic man is not desperate for outcomes. He is obsessed with self-command. While the masses are chasing distractions, the Stoic watches. While they waste their energy on drama, gossip, and empty noise, he sharpens his mind. He is governed by one law: control yourself, or be controlled. The world cannot move the man who has mastered his own mind. You insult him, he is unmoved. You ignore him, he remains steady. You praise him, he remains detached. You betray him, he simply adjusts his strategy. Nothing enters his emotional state unless he permits it. This is not coldness, this is sovereignty, because the moment you allow emotion to govern your decisions, you surrender your throne to weakness. The Stoic does not suppress emotion, he disciplines it. Emotion serves him, emotion obeys him. Emotion strengthens his mission, but never steers it. You don't owe the world your reactions, you owe yourself full control. If you're ready to enter this level of mental warfare, drop this in the comments right now. I serve nothing but control. Because this is where you begin the path few dare to walk. Part 2. The first principle of psychological control. Understand this. Control begins where reaction ends. Every time you react instantly to an insult, a setback, a betrayal, you hand over your power. You allow external forces to dictate your internal state, and that, right there, is how weak men are broken. The Stoic knows delay is power. Before he speaks, he calculates. Before he moves, he observes. Before he decides, he measures. His emotions whisper, but they do not command. The world pushes, but he does not stumble. Pressure builds, but he remains still. This is not natural for most men. The average man is impulsive. He explodes in anger. He collapses in sadness. He celebrates foolishly in moments of victory, making himself vulnerable. His life is ruled by emotional spikes, highs and lows he cannot control. But the Stoic is different. He installs a buffer between stimulus and response. He allows the world to reveal itself while he remains unreadable. The less predictable you are, the more power you hold. In the world of dark psychology, unpredictability creates dominance. When others cannot read you, they cannot control you. When they cannot control you, they fear you. This is not about suppressing who you are. It's about governing who you allow yourself to become. Emotions are tools, sharpened, used, but never allowed to lead. If you understand that stillness is your ultimate weapon, drop this in the comments right now. Stillness makes me dangerous. Because once you master this principle, you become untouchable. Part 3. The power of indifference. Let me give you a truth most men will never accept. Indifference is power. The masses waste their energy on things that do not matter. They obsess over gossip, over who likes them, who supports them, who betrays them. They argue over opinions. They react to critics. They personalize insults. And while they're busy feeding distractions, they starve their own potential. The Stoic man is indifferent, not careless, not cold, not numb. Indifferent. He understands that attention is a currency, and he refuses to spend it on things beneath his mission. When someone insults him, he remains still. Why? Because that person's words have no bearing on his trajectory. When someone praises him, he remains detached. Why? Because he does not build his identity on validation. When someone betrays him, he adapts without emotional collapse. Why? Because betrayal exposes weakness in others, not in him. Indifference is not weakness, it's command. The world cannot manipulate the man who simply does not care about noise. They cannot shame him. They cannot provoke him. They cannot lure him into pointless battles. He sees all, but invests only where it matters. In dark psychology, this creates an unsettling advantage. Your indifference makes others uncomfortable because they cannot control you emotionally. They seek reactions to gain leverage, and when you give them nothing, they crumble under their own instability. You hold frame, you hold silence, you hold composure, and because of that, you hold power. This is how kings operate. This is how rulers are built. If you're ready to detach from weakness and install indifference as your shield, drop this in the comments right now. My indifference is my power, because the man who masters indifference cannot be broken. Part 4. The elimination of neediness. Listen carefully. Nothing weakens a man faster than neediness. The moment you need something, you are vulnerable. Neediness is invisible to most men because they're surrounded by it. They need approval. They need praise. They need relationships. They need constant reassurance. They need permission. But the Stoic operates differently. He eliminates need. Because when you need nothing from anyone, you cannot be controlled by anyone. This is where psychological dominance begins. You don't need validation from strangers. You don't need applause from crowds. You don't need loyalty from weak people. You don't need comfort. You don't need ease. You are self-contained, complete, whole. The weak man is addicted to the response of others. He's controlled by whether people support him. He adjusts his identity based on public approval. He falls apart when people walk away. The Stoic understands. People leave. Opportunities fade. Circumstances change. But his foundation never moves. He builds himself so completely that if everything were stripped away, his mind would remain fortified. When you eliminate need, you become rare. When you become rare, you become valuable. When you are valuable, you attract everything others beg for, without begging. That is the paradox of needlessness. People chase what seems unattainable. and nothing is more attractive to the world than a man who doesn't need it. In dark psychology, this is called reversed pressure. You no longer chase, you are chased, because neediness repels, but self-sufficiency magnetizes. If you understand that the less you need, the more power you hold, drop this in the comments right now. I need nothing, I attract everything. This is where true sovereignty begins. Part 5. The discipline of delayed gratification. Power belongs to the man who waits. In a world addicted to instant pleasure, instant rewards, and instant recognition, the Stoic operates in reverse. The average man sacrifices his future for comfort today. He trades long-term wealth for momentary pleasure. He chooses short-term validation over permanent respect. He desires fast rewards because he fears discipline. But the Stoic understands, everything great lives on the other side of patience. He delays gratification, not because he's denying himself, but because he's building something that cannot be rushed. He plays the long game. While others consume, he invests. While others waste time, he sharpens skills. While others party, he builds silently. While others celebrate small wins, he quietly lays foundations that will outlast their entire existence. This is the mark of real psychological control, the discipline to say, I can have it later, because when I have it, it will be permanent. Pleasure chases the patient man. The impatient man becomes a slave to impulses, quick money schemes, fast relationships, temporary fame, shallow victories. But the man who masters delayed gratification becomes dangerous, because nothing pulls him off course. In dark psychology, this discipline creates a terrifying advantage. You're not desperate for quick wins, so you don't fall for traps. You don't panic during temporary losses. You outlast everyone. The world will try to distract you. It will offer you shortcuts to keep you small. Refuse them. If you're ready to delay gratification and command your future, drop this in the comments right now. I delay, I dominate. Because once you master patience, time itself becomes your servant. Part 6. The power of silence as a weapon. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is control. Silence is power. Most men speak to fill the void. They talk excessively, trying to prove their worth, trying to justify themselves, trying to seek approval through their words. But in that desperation to be heard, they expose their weaknesses. The Stoic understands silence is a weapon most fear to carry. In silence, you observe. You listen to what others reveal. You read body language, tone, hidden motives. You gather information while giving none away. The one who speaks least holds the most advantage. When you remain silent, you create uncertainty. You create tension. You force others to reveal more, because the average mind is uncomfortable with silence. They will speak too much, explain too much, and expose what they were trying to hide. Your silence makes them uncomfortable. In dark psychology, this creates psychological pressure. The man who speaks first often loses power. The man who waits controls the pace. In negotiations, silence forces concessions. In conflict, silence creates fear. In competition, silence creates intimidation. The Stoic speaks only when necessary. Every word calculated, every sentence intentional. He never wastes words on people not assigned to his mission. Silence protects your frame. The more silent you become, the harder you are to read. The harder you are to read, the harder you are to manipulate. And the harder you are to manipulate, the more dominant you become. Weak men are loud. Strong men are precise. If you're ready to weaponize your silence, drop this in the comments right now. My silence speaks louder than words. Because silence is not emptiness, it's authority. Part 7. The unbothered state, mastering emotional detachment. The most dangerous man in any room is the one who cannot be emotionally moved. The world runs on emotional manipulation. Every insult is designed to trigger you. Every betrayal is meant to break you. Every compliment is meant to soften you. Every crisis is meant to destabilize you. The weak man takes the bait. He gets angry when disrespected. He becomes desperate when abandoned. He chases comfort when pressure builds. He reacts to everything, and that reaction becomes his prison. The Stoic moves differently. He remains emotionally detached, not numb, not cold, but sovereign. He observes betrayal, but does not crumble. He hears insults, but does not react. He receives praise, but does not inflate. He faces setbacks, but does not lose alignment. Emotional detachment is psychological immunity. You cannot be controlled by what you no longer allow to penetrate your center. You no longer take things personally because you understand nothing outside of you holds the power to define you. When people fail you, they reveal themselves, not your value. When people attack you, they expose their weakness, not your worth. The unbothered man becomes terrifying in dark psychology because others cannot control his state. Their tactics fail. Their manipulations fall flat. Their games lose power. He remains still while others drown in reaction. This is not indifference to life. It is indifference to nonsense. It is focus on the mission, nothing more. If you're ready to master emotional detachment, drop this in the comments right now. I feel nothing. I control everything. Because once you reach this state, you walk through life untouchable. Part 8. The ruthless elimination of distractions. Focus is not a gift. It is a decision. It is a ruthless war against distraction. Weak men live scattered. Their attention is divided between meaningless arguments, temporary pleasures, pointless entertainment, and endless noise. They are addicted to stimulation, scrolling, watching, reacting. Every notification, every message, every new opinion pulls them off course. And because they are everywhere, they are nowhere. They build nothing. They finish nothing. They become nothing. The Stoic understands distraction is the enemy of destiny. You cannot build an empire while being pulled in 1,000 directions. You cannot master your craft while checking your phone every 10 minutes. You cannot dominate a room when your mind is filled with irrelevant chatter. Every distraction you allow weakens your authority. The sovereign man eliminates without hesitation. He cuts toxic relationships. He silences useless conversations. He ignores drama. He removes apps that steal attention. He limits exposure to nonsense. He declines invitations that don't serve the mission. Everything that does not serve his path is eliminated. In dark psychology, distraction is one of the most effective tools used to control weak men. Keep them busy. Keep them reactive. Keep them emotionally scattered. The sovereign breaks that chain. He guards his focus like a king guards his throne. Focus creates momentum. Momentum creates power. Power creates separation. While others spend their days entertaining themselves, you spend your days building. While they waste hours debating, you spend hours executing. While they chase attention, you refine your skill set quietly. While they remain stuck, you rise. The world belongs to the focused. This is why most men never taste true greatness. They lack the discipline to cut off what weakens them. You cannot carry both greatness and distraction. You must choose. If you eliminate distraction, you will find most of your problems disappear. Because distraction is not just about wasted time, it's about lost identity. The more focused you become, the more your mind sharpens. The more your mind sharpens, the faster you separate from the weak. And once separated, you become impossible to catch. Distraction is noise. Focus is signal. Signal builds empires. If you're ready to ruthlessly eliminate distractions, drop this in the comments right now. I choose focus over noise. Because in the end, your ability to say no will determine how far you rise. Part 9. The psychology of deliberate isolation. Isolation breaks weak men, but it builds sovereign men. Most fear being alone. They fear silence. They fear the absence of applause, attention, and constant noise. Because without others feeding their fragile identity, they collapse. But the Stoic understands something they don't. Isolation is not emptiness. It is purification. When you deliberately isolate, you separate yourself from useless conversations, unqualified opinions, emotional parasites, weak influences. You strip away everything that contaminates your discipline. Alone with your thoughts, you begin to see clearly what you truly want, who you truly are, what weaknesses you still carry, what strengths you must sharpen. Deliberate isolation is where transformation happens. The average man drowns in distraction because he fears facing himself. He hides behind constant activity to avoid the weight of honest self-examination. The sovereign man embraces the silence because he understands a man who can stand fully alone can stand anywhere. In dark psychology, this creates terrifying psychological strength because you no longer need anyone to validate your existence. You no longer require external input to maintain composure. You are complete, self-governed, fully contained. You no longer seek the crowd seeks you. Deliberate isolation trains emotional independence, mental sharpness, ruthless self-honesty, extreme clarity, and with clarity comes speed. With speed comes dominance, because the man who knows exactly where he's going moves faster than those still asking for directions. The weak need groups to feel strong. The sovereign needs only himself. Isolation trains you to build without applause, to execute without praise, to endure without sympathy, to advance while being unseen. And when you re-emerge, you are dangerous. Because you have built something no one gave you. You have forged strength from silence. You have created clarity from emptiness. You have become untouchable. The masses will never understand this. They will mock your isolation because they fear your detachment. Let them. You are not here for their understanding. You are here for dominion. If you're ready to embrace deliberate isolation and build your unbreakable core, drop this in the comments right now. I sharpen in silence, because silence is where kings are born. Part 10. The Sovereign Mind, Becoming Untouchable. You've now arrived at the point most men will never reach: sovereignty. Sovereignty means you rule yourself completely. No one outside of you can shake your foundation. You are not reactive to insults. You are not desperate for validation. You are not swayed by emotions, opinions, or pressure. You move when you choose. You speak when you decide. You act when it serves your mission. The sovereign mind does not fear rejection. He does not fear loss. He does not fear being misunderstood, because his identity is not dependent on external approval. He knows exactly who he is, and nothing outside can add or subtract from that. This is why sovereign men walk into rooms differently. They do not need attention, yet attention finds them. They do not demand respect, yet respect is given. They do not chase opportunities, yet opportunities present themselves. Why? Because true power is magnetic. The man who governs himself becomes a force that others cannot resist. In dark psychology, this is the highest level of psychological control. You no longer seek control over others. You control yourself so fully that others automatically adjust to your frame. That is real power. That is unshakable power. That is Stoic power. You are now untouchable. If you're ready to install this sovereign mind permanently, drop this in the comments right now. I am the sovereign. And if this series reshaped your perspective, Make sure you like the video, subscribe to Modern Stoicism, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. Your training has only begun.